Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle stepped out onto the balcony overlooking St. Peter's Square. It was a moment of great significance, the beginning of a new chapter for the Catholic Church. Pope Francis, the people's pontiff, had left an immense void. His departure left a world in turmoil filled with uncertainty. As millions gathered, their eyes fixed on the Vatican, the weight of hope and anxiety pressed heavily in the air. It was a time when the Catholic Church, like much of the world, was at a crossroads, with challenges ranging from global conflict to internal divisions. The faithful longed for guidance, for a leader who could offer them more than just words, but the vision of hope they desperately needed. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation, as people stood in silence, prayerfully waiting for a sign, a message from the new leader. Every single person seemed to have a shared sense of expectation. Something was about to change. The world, it seemed, was holding its breath in unison, and then Cardinal Tagle appeared. The crowd hushed, their collective gaze fixed upon the new pope as a powerful moment unfolded before their eyes. This wasn't just another papal appearance, this was history in the making. Tagle was no stranger to the people, known for his compassion, his humility, and his deep connection to his flock. Pope Tagle's rise to this position was not one of power or privilege, but one of service. His presence exuded warmth, comfort, and an understanding of the weight of the world's suffering. His eyes told the story of a man who had seen much, a man who understood the challenges facing the Church and the world, but most importantly, a man who was ready to offer guidance. The first words spoken by Pope Tagle, as the leader of the Catholic Church, were not just heard, they were felt. The very nature of his speech was grounded in humility and simplicity, yet it carried with it a power that transcended language. He spoke of unity, of a world that had become fractured, of people separated by division, war, and misunderstanding. In his soft yet resonant voice, Tagle called for a renewed commitment to dialogue, for understanding across barriers of race, religion, and geography. His message, delivered in Italian, resonated with millions watching around the world, reaching beyond borders and beliefs. Pope Tagle's first speech was not just a reflection of the state of the Church. It was a direct response to the world's most pressing needs. His message carried an urgency, one that demanded action from every listener. It wasn't just about words of comfort. It was about a call to action. He reminded his audience that, in these times of uncertainty, hope was needed more than ever. A world in pain needed to be healed, and the Church, as the spiritual guide of billions, had to be at the forefront of that healing process. The emotional weight of his words became evident as he spoke of the struggles the world was facing, the injustices, the divisions, the suffering. He acknowledged that humanity had lost its way in many respects, but in the same breath, he invited everyone to renew their faith, to embrace forgiveness, reconciliation, and healing. It was a message that spoke directly to the hearts of the faithful, offering them not just the promise of hope, but the means to create that hope through love, compassion, and service to others. As the crowd stood, silent and mesmerized, it was clear that Pope Tagle's words were a balm for a world wounded by conflict, by fear, and by isolation. His call for forgiveness was not just a religious plea, but a universal one. In a world where violence and hatred often seem to dominate the headlines, his message of reconciliation resonated deeply. The human need for understanding and compassion was, after all, universal. Pope Tagle didn't just speak to the Catholic faithful. His words were a call to all humanity to put aside differences and work together for the common good. At the heart of his speech was the central theme of unity. Unity not just among Catholics, but among all people. He reminded the world that, despite the many challenges we face, there was a greater force uniting us all: love. The Pope spoke of love as the answer to the world's problems, not as an abstract concept, but as a tangible force that could heal wounds, bridge divides, and bring peace where there was none. It was a message that went beyond religion. It was about shared humanity, the need to look beyond ourselves and see the person standing next to us as someone deserving of kindness, compassion, and respect. Pope Tagle's words also carried with them a message of enduring hope. Hope in the face of despair. Hope even in the darkest moments. He reminded his listeners